Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 5.
Breaking news this evening. The North Dakota Department of Health has confirmed another person has died from COVID-19. He is a man in his 70s from Emmons County. Officials say he contracted the virus through community spread and had underlying health conditions. State health officials also announced there are 18 new cases of COVID-19 in the state, with 11 of those new cases located in Cass County. So far, Cass County has a total of 65 cases. Burleigh County is the second highest in the state with 38, and Grand Forks now has 11 cases confirmed. In his daily briefing today, Governor Doug Burgum issued 2 new executive orders. The first one deals with people who test positive for COVID-19 and their family members.
If you've got COVID-19, you need to quarantine. If you've tested positive, quarantine for no less than 14 days. And we say no less because maybe it's going to be longer than that based on your individual situation. But now here's the other part, which you've heard us say. If you're a family member or another individual living in the same housing situation, the same household, if you're living with someone who has tested positive, you are also ordered by this executive order to self-quarantine for a period of no less than 14 days.
Let's go over the numbers, or rather, in his second executive order, Governor Burgum says visitation at long-term care facilities in the state, including nursing homes, has been suspended. The only exceptions are for end-of-life or compassionate care situations. In addition, all non-essential services at those facilities are also suspended until further notice. Now, let's go over the numbers from North Dakota. Over 7,200 people have been tested. 74 people have recovered from COVID-19. 19 are hospitalized. The number of positive cases in the state is 225, and 4 people have died. You can head over to our VNL News app to see the counties affected in both North Dakota and Minnesota. Meanwhile, in Minnesota, officials have announced 51 new cases, bringing the state total up to 986, along with 1 new death. Right now, there are currently 19 confirmed cases in Clay County, 6 in Beltrami, 2 in Wilkin, and 1 in Mahnomen County. Again, the number of positive COVID-19 cases in Minnesota has risen to 986. Over 28,000 people have been tested. 470 people are out of isolation. A total of 115 people have been hospitalized, and 57 people are in the ICU. The state now has 30 deaths due to COVID-19. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz also says he's worried about neighboring states that have not issued stay-at-home orders to try and slow the spread of coronavirus. North Dakota, South Dakota, and Iowa are among a handful of states that do not have statewide orders in place. Governor Walz says it's likely that he will extend Minnesota's order to the end of April. On top of physical distancing, the CDC now recommends you wear a cloth mask when out in the public to help slow the spread of COVID-19. Valley News Team's crime and safety reporter Bailey Hurley talked with experts today on what fabrics already found inside your home will work best to keep you safe.
After this recommendation from the CDC this weekend, many in the Valley are taking to Etsy and other online shops in hopes of finding face masks. But most say they're coming up empty-handed.
A lot of them were sold out. A lot of them couldn't come, until 4 to 6 weeks later. And other ones were really expensive.
So for Firkenhoff, she decided to take it into her own hands.
I'm not a seamstress, so my YouTube tutorial said it would take me 10 minutes max, and it did not take me 10 minutes. It took more.
Made out of old curtains, Firkenhoff says it took a few hours, but it'll get the job done when she heads to the grocery store.
So it was really just what I had on hand and what I had around.
And experts say that's exactly what you can use too.
It may be out of an old t-shirt, a scarf, out of a bandana.
Adding, it's important your mask is snug around your face and nose.
You wouldn't need to be wearing them when you're in your car driving or if you're at home or just going for a walk.
Goebel says you can continue to rewear your cloth mask only if it's not soiled or wet.
Because if you just keep wearing them when they're moist, that just harbors bacteria, and that bacteria just, builds up and starts to grow in there in that moist, warm environment.
Adding, to make sure you never actually touch the mask when taking it off, rather only the elastic part by your ears. In Fargo, Bailey Hurley, Valley News Live.
For directions on how to make a cloth mask at home, the CDC now has online directions. You can find them on our VNL News app if you click on this story. Pretty uneventful so far today, but we're watching a system that's moving in this evening that looks to bring some stormy weather to the region. Let's find out more from our First Alert Storm team. Hutch?
Soggy. It looks a little soupy outside as we take a look at that Valley Skycam, and off to the west, we're starting to see a few showers developing. It's not impressive on the radar, and we're going to get through the evening just fine across most of the area. As we take a look at temperatures, coolest weather where we got the majority of the snow from last week's storm. It is 20 degrees warmer, even 30 degrees warmer in central portions of South Dakota as spring heat is on the way. For this evening in Fargo, we're going to hover near 50 degrees later tonight. Notice this. That's right. Thunder and lightning in the overnight forecast could bring one or two storms that are severe, but they will bring locally heavy rain. Here's a look at your Grand Forks forecast. Temperatures falling closer to 40 degrees. There's a chance of some rain there on top of the snow that you have. We'll have an hour-by-hour forecast here as we go through the overnight, but the best chance of these storms will be after the 10 o'clock hour, both in the southern and northern valley. I'll have all the details here in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Hutch. Cass County officials are alerting people living in rural areas to expect significant overland flooding. County officials say the Cheyenne and Maple Rivers are expected to have a significant rise today through Wednesday. Anyone who sandbagged in the past should expect to do it again this year. Cass County has 90,000 sandbags ready to go. For who to contact about that, you can find this story on our VNL News app. The North Dakota Department of Transportation has closed the northbound off-ramp of I-29, that's exit 164, just north of the Oslo exit. The DOT closed the exit because of water on the road from flooding. The department is also reminding drivers that North Dakota 54 from I-29 to the Red River is closed for flooding as well. Two people are now facing second-degree murder charges in the death of a Moorhead man. Officials say 50-year-old Christopher Graywater is facing second-degree murder charges and faces up to 40 years in prison. Police also arrested 40-year-old Devana Webenez, and she is now facing second-degree assault charges and second-degree DWI. Last Thursday, police were called to a home in Hawley for suspicious activity. When they arrived, they found Graywater had been assaulted and took him to the hospital and then to jail. After an investigation, police learned a 52-year-old man from Moorhead was also hurt in the assault. He was taken to a hospital where he later died. The victim's name has not been released. Tonight, there are concerns about a local dispensary shutting down. People are saying The Botanist, the only medical marijuana facility in Fargo, closed its doors with no warning. Valley News Team's Callie Hubbard talked with disappointed consumers who are wondering what's next.
We have unfortunately had to temporarily suspend our operations, and our store will not reopen until sometime in the future.
Some people are just going to be completely devastated by this because, they were probably using the cannabis even more than I used the cannabis.
Many, like Katrina Robinson from Fargo, rely on The Botanist off 13th Avenue South.
As a medical patient, I feel like we're just left high and dry with no dispensary to go to, and I don't see how they could let that happen.
It's like, well, what do we do now? Now what do we do? The only closest place is Grand Forks. I'm not going to drive all the way to Grand Forks every other day or twice a week just to go get what I need.
People in the valley like Carlos Salinas adding that they want answers.
Sucks because, it's a long process to go through what you got to go through to get your card. And then for something like just to get pulled from you all of a sudden, not even told nothing, not a warning, not, hey, you know what? This is going to happen.
I reached out to Acreage Holdings out of New York. They said that due to the significant impact of the COVID-19 pandemic and other uncontrollable factors, they are temporarily suspending operations at The Botanist in Fargo until further notice. People like Robinson and Salinas are trying to figure out a plan since cannabis delivery isn't an option.
We're in the middle of a shutdown and we're supposed to be social distancing. So where does that leave us now?
In Fargo, Callie Hubbard, Valley News Live.
The state medical marijuana division director says nobody at that dispensary has tested positive for coronavirus. Essentia Health announced today that they have become aware of an issue at a former distribution partner's medication storage site in Fargo. Officials say the issue may have resulted in certain vaccines and medications being stored at temperatures outside of the range recommended by the manufacturer. Those vaccines and medications were then sent to Essentia Health for use with patients. Valley News Live has learned flu shots were included in that list. Essentia says they have notified all potentially impacted clinic locations and have removed any potentially affected medication from their facility. The pandemic is also having an effect on fishing tournaments in North Dakota. Game and Fish has revoked all fishing tournaments for April and May. Also, those who are organizing a tournament between June and October are being notified that may not happen either if COVID-19 conditions continue. A crowd clustered closely together wouldn't normally be something to fawn over under our current circumstances, but these aren't normal times, and this not a usual sight. A herd of deer roaming through western Michigan, the empty streets of Grand Rapids, to be more specific, last week, apparently enjoying everyone else's social distancing while practicing none themselves. Photographer Aaron Geller capturing this video in his neighborhood.